Every night, you commit an act of complete surrender. You close your eyes, turn off the lights, and allow consciousness to slip away. You've been told this is just recovery. You've been told your body is simply resetting its battery for another day of the same routines, the same anxieties, the same quiet desperation. They lied to you. Sleep is not a pause button. It is a battlefield. While your conscious guard is down, the gates to your deepest identity stand wide open. And right now, as you lie unconscious, those gates are being breached. The algorithms you consumed, the arguments you replayed, the silent fears you carried to bed, they are not evaporating into the dark. They are burying themselves into the wet clay of your subconscious mind. You are being programmed while you sleep. But you are not the one holding the code. The ancients understood a terrifying truth that modern science is only now desperately trying to prove. The state of your mind at midnight determines the execution of your destiny at dawn. If you enter darkness in a state of stress, you wake up as a prisoner to your past. But there is a forgotten discipline, a bridging of ancient biblical stillness and the raw biology of neuroplasticity, a way to turn your mattress into a forge and your sleep into an active rebellion against stagnation. If you do not master the final 20 minutes of your day, the world will master the next 20 years of your life. Look at your life. You wake up tired. Not because your body lacked sleep, but because your soul is exhausted from fighting an unseen war. You spent the entire day trying to force change. You read the self-help books. You wrote down the goals. You tried to manifest a version of yourself that is disciplined, strong, and unbothered. Yet the moment pressure arrives, you default right back to the old software. The hesitation, the self-doubt, the addiction to comfort. Why? Because you are trying to change a skyscraper by painting the roof. The conscious mind, the part of you listening to this video right now, is only 5% of your cognitive power. It's a thin layer of ice sitting on top of a dark, massive ocean. That ocean is your subconscious. It dictates your reactions, your self-worth, your thresholds for pain, and your natural inclination toward greatness or mediocrity. And you are trying to fight that ocean with logic. Every evening you feed that ocean poison. You scroll through the curated lives of strangers until your eyes burn. You replay the insult from your boss. You worry about bills that aren't due for weeks. You fall asleep to the background noise of television shows filled with chaos, lust, and betrayal. You think you're just relaxing. You think your brain turns off. It doesn't. The subconscious never sleeps. It has no filters. It cannot take a joke. It takes everything you give it as a direct command. This is why you feel stuck. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of opportunity. It's an error in your evening liturgy. Most people are addicted to a state of constant, low-level emergency. The modern world has weaponized your dopamine pathways, ensuring that your brain remains in a state of high beta alertness right up until the second your head hits the pillow. You drop from high-stress survival directly into unconsciousness. When you do this, you carry the heavy, chaotic energy of the world straight into your internal sanctuary. You spend 8 hours processing anxiety instead of building power. You are executing a nightly ritual of self-sabotage, and you don't even know it. He who goes to bed with wolves wakes up howling. If you allow the noise of the crowd to tuck you in, do not be surprised when you wake up living their lives, scattered, fearful, and easily managed. True discipline does not begin when your alarm goes off at 5 in the morning. It begins when you decide what enters your mind at 10 the night before. Thousands of years before the invention of electroencephalograms and neuroimaging, ancient sages understood the architecture of the human mind. They didn't call it the subconscious, they called it the heart, the deep waters, the hidden room. In the biblical texts, there is a recurring command that modern society has completely forgotten. Be still and know. This is not an invitation to be lazy. This is a tactical directive. The Hebrew root for stillness used here means to slacken, to let go, to surrender the weapons of the ego. It is the conscious mind stepping down from its frantic, useless guard duty so that a higher intelligence can take over. The Book of Psalms declares, "Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still." Think about the precision of that instruction. Upon your bed, not in the marketplace, not during the heat of battle. The ancients knew that the bed was a sacred altar of transformation. They understood that when the physical body becomes immobile, the spirit becomes highly active. They knew that whatever seed you drop into the heart during that precise transition from wakefulness to slumber would take root in the dark, growing silently while you slept until it broke through the soil of your reality the next day. For centuries, this was viewed as pure mysticism. But today, science has caught up to the sanctuary. When you are awake, working, and stressed, your brain operates in beta waves. It is a fast, choppy frequency designed for external survival. But as you prepare for sleep, your brainwave frequency begins to slow down. It drops into alpha, the state of light relaxation. And then, for a brief, highly critical window right before you fall unconscious, your brain enters the theta state. Theta is the holy grail of human transformation. In the theta state, your critical mind, that cynical, doubtful voice that says, "You can't do this, you're not strong enough, you've failed before," goes completely offline. The hypnagogic state is a state of absolute neuroplasticity. The brain is hypermalleable, functioning exactly like a sponge. It cannot distinguish between a memory and an imagination. It cannot separate a fear from a fact. Whatever you feed it during this window bypasses all logical defenses and burns itself directly into your neural pathways. If you spend this theta window worrying about your bank account, your brain spends the next 8 hours hardwiring financial scarcity into your identity. If you spend it dwelling on rejection, your brain literally restructures its neural networks to make you more sensitive to rejection tomorrow. You are using the most potent, scientifically proven state of self-hypnosis to permanently cement your own limitations. There are 20 minutes that dictate your entire existence. The 20 minutes before you lose consciousness. This is your daily opportunity to rewrite the script of your life. Think of your mind as a kingdom. During the day, the king, your conscious ego, is standing on the balcony, managing the estate, shouting orders, defending the walls. But at night, the king retreats into the inner chambers. The guards drop their shields, the castle is quiet. Whoever walks into the throne room during those 20 minutes can write any law they want into the kingdom's decree. If you leave the television on, you are letting a corporate advertiser sit on your throne. If you scroll through social media, you are letting a hyper-optimized algorithm dictate the emotional state of your kingdom. You are giving away your sovereignty at the exact moment you are most powerful. True masculine discipline, deep spiritual intelligence, requires that you guard this window with your life. You must treat the 20 minutes before sleep not as a time for mindless comfort, but as an active, strategic deployment of intent. Why is it so hard to just sit in the dark? Why do you reach for the glowing screen the moment your head hits the pillow? Because silence is a mirror. When you remove the noise of the world, you are forced to face the raw, unedited reality of who you currently are. You are forced to hear the quiet voices of your own regrets, your unfulfilled potential, and the terrifying gap between the man you are and the man you were created to be. Comfort is a slow, painless death. The modern world offers you endless distraction at night because it knows that if you ever look into that mirror, you will become dangerous. It knows that if you ever experience true biblical stillness, you will realize that you were not built for a life of quiet compliance and mediocrity. The enemy of execution is a distracted mind. Nighttime warfare is about reclaiming the territory of your attention. It is about having the courage to put down the cheap dopamine, to look into the darkness, and to deliberately choose what seeds you will plant in the fertile soil of your soul. Here is the ancient scientific blueprint to reclaim your mind. This is your nightly ritual. Do not just listen to this, write it down in the chambers of your mind. Look, we can talk about strategy all day, but before anything else, there is one habit you need to break tonight. It's a quiet mistake, one I used to make myself, and it happens the moment you decide the day is over. You're lying there, and your hand reaches for that glowing screen. You tell yourself you're just winding down, checking one last thing, but your brain is actually receiving a shock to the system. That harsh blue light is essentially lying to your body. It mimics the high noon sun, tricking your internal clock and instantly freezing the chemicals your brain needs to drift off naturally. If you want to change what's happening inside your head, you have to protect the room you sleep in. Put the phone in the hallway, turn off the television. Your room shouldn't be a place where you consume the chaos of the world anymore. It needs to be a sanctuary, a quiet, heavy space where you prepare for what's next. Once the room goes completely dark, most people make a mistake right here. They lie down, but their mind is still running a marathon. They're replaying arguments, worrying about tomorrow, carrying a heavy chest into the deep hours. Tonight, before your head touches the pillow, try something different. Just lie flat. Let your eyes close, and instead of letting your thoughts chase their own tail, take control of your breathing. It's incredibly simple, but almost nobody does it. Inhale slowly for a count of 4, hold it at the top for another 4, and then let it out over a long, deliberate count of 6. When you stretch that exhale out, you're sending a physical signal straight to your nervous system. You're telling your body, "We are safe. The battle is over for today." You are manually pulling your brain out of that frantic, survival-driven frequency and guiding it into a calm, receptive stillness. You are finally becoming quiet. Now, if you're the type of person who needs some kind of background sound to block out the silence, you have to be incredibly careful about what you let through the gates. If you leave a random video playing or a podcast where people are debating and shouting, your brain is absorbing that tension while you drift off. It washes over your mind like ink in clear water. If you're going to listen to anything, let it be rare. Let it be exclusive. Find a deep, steady, ambient frequency that feels like a heavy blanket, or maybe ancient text read in a calm, grounded voice that doesn't demand your logic. You want words and sounds that wash over your soul the way rain hits dry, exhausted soil. This is where the transformation actually begins. As you feel your limbs grow heavy and that strange, half-awake, half-asleep feeling starts to take over, your mind is more vulnerable and more powerful than it is at any other time of day. The cynical, doubtful guard that usually stands at the door of your mind has finally gone to sleep. And you need to be very careful about the last commands you give the house before you go under. Never spend these final moments thinking about what you're afraid of. Don't lie there whispering, "I need to stop being broke," or "I hope I'm not completely overwhelmed tomorrow." The deepest parts of your mind don't understand how to process a negative. If you fill your thoughts with the image of your anxiety, you are simply ordering more anxiety for breakfast. Instead, I want you to claim the man you are choosing to become, right now, in the present tense. Speak to yourself with the absolute weight of a settled fact. Let your final thoughts be, "I am grounded. I am disciplined. My mind is a fortress. I am unshakable." Don't just say the words like a script. See the movie in your mind. See yourself handling the pressure. Feel the actual weight of the achievement, the deep, quiet peace that comes with real discipline. Let that exact feeling be the very last thing that slips into your unconsciousness as the dark takes over. When you do this, something incredible happens beneath the surface of your awareness, far deeper than science can fully map out. While you are lying there completely still, your brain begins its night shift. It starts doing a kind of internal housekeeping, literally cutting away the weak, chaotic neural connections you didn't focus on and cementing the ones you did. By holding that vivid image of strength, purpose, and divine quiet in your final waking seconds, you aren't just drifting off. You are handing your mind a blueprint. You are giving it the exact orders of what to build while your body rests. You aren't just sleeping anymore. You are engineering a new version of yourself from the inside out. This is what an internal rebirth actually feels like. It's the moment you stop fighting your own biology and start aligning it with a higher law. You are finally honoring the temple you were given. You are taking the frantic, scattered thoughts of a man trapped by his circumstances, and you are replacing them with the serene, absolute confidence of a conqueror. Tomorrow morning, the alarm is going to sound. The sun will come up, and the world is going to do what it always does. It's going to immediately try to throw its chaos right back at your feet. It's going to demand your anger. It's going to beg for your distraction. It's going to try to feed you fear, and it will expect you to comply just like everyone else. But you won't respond the same way. Not this time. Because tonight, you didn't just pass out from exhaustion. You descended into the forge. You changed the code. You stood in that great ancient stillness and reminded yourself exactly who you are before the world had a chance to tell you otherwise. You are no longer a victim of the stories you used to tell yourself. You are the architect of what comes next. Stop wasting your darkness. Reclaim your throne. Step into the stillness, master your rest, and watch how your world changes when you wake up. The forge is waiting for you. Good night.